Well, hello out there.
You're Lee.
And you're Irene.
And this is our show, The Lee and Irene Show.
Show.
Yay!
Hello, Irene and lovely listeners. We are so glad that you're here and we have an absolutely gorgeous episode for you today. We are going to the mat for you, metaphorically and also a little bit literally as well. We're talking yoga and meditation with a super duper star of both practices.
And I'm a little bit nervous about that because some of us have been to yoga a handful of times and some of us are actually qualified yoga teachers. Anyway, I'll let you work out which is which.
It'll become very clear very quickly. But before we get into all of that, Irene, hi. How are you? And tell me, what has been happening this week? What is rocking your world right now?
Hi. Okay. Well, this week has just been one of those weeks where you finish it and you think, I actually did quite a lot. Not in a frantic way, but just it was actually a really satisfying week. Ticked off lots of things off the clean nectarine to-do list. Had a really good week of sales.
Oh,
which is
and it was
great.
your birthday yesterday.
And it was my birthday. For my birthday, the team said, what do you want for your birthday? And it's always the same thing. I just want like sales. I want lots and lots of orders for my birthday. And I thought, well, let's put together like a birthday box that, you know, I curate and I'll like sell it for a really good price. Anyway, curated this amazing box. It was really good value. It was like about 80% off retail.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Yeah, we made up loads of boxes because we thought, because, you know, like the other stores, they do these seasonal boxes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just boring as heck, right? They're so boring and whatever. So I thought if we're going to do it, we'd do it like really good. So let's do like the seasonal box to end all seasonal boxes. Anyway, we did enough. I thought this is going to get us through winter. I'm telling you, I sold out in 20 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I've got so many complaints now for people that missed out and I feel really bad and now I need to do another one. And
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think curated boxes are really fun, huh?
Yeah, we should do one. I was thinking on the way here, we should do a curated podcast box of things that just we talk about in the podcast that we just love.
Yes.
And I thought about that on the way. Anyway, I'm totally off topic now.
Yeah.
But I just loved that it sold out. And how do I say this without coming across really wanky? But I tell you how I feel today.
Yeah.
I feel like I still got it.
You have still got it. You definitely still got it.
Thank you. How about you? How's your week?
Well, I've been actually listening to a lot of music this week. I love music and also on my walks as well. And I actually have been listening to this podcast that I kind of just revisited lately. It's called Philosophize This. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's by a guy called Stephen West. And I don't know if anyway, it's such a great podcast. You learn all about the different philosophers and philosophy and it's completely different second time around and I'm enjoying it so much more as well. I love it. It's definitely one of my favorite things.
I just love how we're so different. My week has all been revolved around how many sales can I get and you're like, listening to a philosophy podcast probably whilst walking the dog down to Palm Beach. Whilst I've been running around the warehouse trying to find more product to add to these boxes.
All right, well, let's move on.
Okay.
So in What's Popping today, we are joined by someone I have absolutely enormous respect for, Kate Kendall. She was the co-founder of Flow Athletic in Sydney. She's an author as well, a teacher, and one of the most thoughtful voices in the yoga and mindfulness space in Australia and around the world, actually. And we're going to go deep today. We're going to go deep on yoga, meditation, the relationship between the two, and also want to talk a little bit about Pilates as well. And I'm wondering whether that's been yoga has been overtaken by Pilates because I just see it everywhere these days. And I also want to ask her a few things on what it's like to build a practice that serves your life, you know, rather than the other way around. So I am really looking forward to this one.
And I've got so many questions, not yoga teacher level questions, just like normal questions about yoga because I am such a beginner.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And in the cabin today, Justin is back with a very modern and very real question, I hope.
And then it is my turn for a rant or rave, and I know exactly what I'm raving about, and I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people.
Oh, that's exciting.
So, okay, let's introduce Kate and see what's popping in her world.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, Kate has been teaching yoga in Australia for over 2 decades now. It sounds like a long time until you spend 5 minutes with her, and then you realize that she's one of those people who genuinely found the thing that is theirs, and she's just gone deeper and deeper and deeper into it every single year. I actually met Kate many years ago when she reached out to me after reading one of my books, and she asked me to come into her studio and do a talk, and that was absolutely awesome. And I just realized how knowledgeable she is about yoga and meditation. And we also have a bit of an interesting history as well, because I might let her tell the story about it, but when I met her, I felt like very connected, and I was going through my intuitive stage, which I'm still going through now. And I told her that she was going to have a little girl, and I told her when she was going to have a little girl, and I told her that the letter that her name began with. And yeah, it was quite spooky. Anyway, I'm going to let her fill you in. Welcome to the pod, Kate.
Thanks, girls. Thanks.
And
for
you do have
me.
a little girl, don't
I do
you?
have a little girl. She's 7 now. Her name's Alice. I'd almost forgotten about that premonition, that intuitive hit you got.
I know. That was crazy,
So much has
wasn't it?
happened since then. And I just remember that, that time that I reached out. And I have to say, I remember doing the gut healing protocol and feeling so amazing after it. And I still to this day tell so many people about it. If they've got gut issues, like, go and get the book.
Oh,
It's so good. The recipes.
Thank you.
I mean, I just love eating mushy food too, like a baby.
Me too. I love baby food. So I want to start somewhere slightly personal, if that's okay with you. Because you grew up in the country and you ended up in the city, and you built something really significant here. What was the version of Kate who first walked into a yoga class looking for back then in the beginning?
That is such a big question, and it's so interesting to look back and watch that journey unravel, because I always say that I got into yoga when I wasn't in a great place mentally. I was a bit down and out. I was medicated. I was depressed. About 10 years prior to that, an eating disorder had started to develop. So I was, walked into that first yoga class in North Bondi, a place called the Dharmashala, which at the time was the only yoga studio in Bondi. It was like carpet on the floor, incense burning, deities on the wall. And I remember walking in, having just come from work in the city. I was working in a digital agency. And I was like, I do not belong here. Like, what is this? And the guy next to me breathing in a funny way, which was, Ujjayi breathing. And I fumbled my way through it, and I felt like a baby elephant on a yoga mat. I did not know what I was doing. But then I remember lying down in Shavasana and just being totally present, like a feeling that I just hadn't experienced since childhood, like at peace.
Yeah.
Like how I would feel sometimes as a kid in nature. I always liked to be solo as a kid, quite introverted, shy. I loved my time in stillness. And I went to that yoga class out of vanity. I wanted to look good because I thought that it would give me long, lean limbs and I'd have tight abs, and it changed my body. It made me stronger for sure with the type of yoga I was doing, but I stayed for the mental stuff. And I remember walking home along the promenade at North Bondi after that very first session, and it was, nighttime, and I remember stopping in my tracks and crying.
Oh.
And it was because I hadn't really, it was grief for all the times I hadn't let myself feel, and just felt this profound sense of wellness as well. And I was like, is it the breathing, is it the moving? I don't know, but I just went back, and I would go consistently, and I opened up really quickly. I could never touch my toes. I was never into yoga. I was a tomboy, this was never a thing for me. So I say I got out of vanity, but I stayed for the mental gold.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I remember Dharmashala, the yoga studio. It's great, isn't it? As a yoga teacher myself, meditation teacher, I do find a lot of people have emotional releases in class, a lot of tears and crying and things like that.
I'm so genuinely, profoundly moved by what you just said. And a part of me really connected with that. And that has happened to me, but again, and I don't want to bring my business world into it, but that's exactly the sort of way I feel on certain days, maybe not so much now, but with my first business as it was growing. And there's this connection with the universe. And for me, I'll tell you how I interpret it. It's tears of joy that you have truly found your purpose and why you were put on this earth. And that is incredibly earth-shattering for a body, and the emotions that come up with that just turn into tears. And I have been there, but not through yoga. I've tried yoga and no, nothing, I didn't get any of that. I just felt like tired and sore. But yeah, in other areas I've felt that.
It's funny you just said that, because that me crying that night, for me, that's the feeling of coming home to my body. It's the feeling of being at home in my body. And maybe part of me knew, if we're talking about time not being real, part of me knew that in that moment my life was going to change. I couldn't have said that back then. But because I would go back consistently, and I developed such a great relationship with my teacher, Rick, shout out to Rick, I just owe him so much. I feel quite emotional thinking about him, because he was the one. I mean, I'd be at my desk in the city just thinking about yoga and secretly wanting to teach yoga. And then one day I came out of yoga, about to get on the 333, go to city, and he stopped me and he goes, Katie, you'd make a really great yoga teacher. And it was just, it was like permission slip. I never needed the permission slip to teach yoga. But like, he just saw that. And I'm such a big believer, if you see something in someone, really encourage them, because you never know how it's going to change your life. And so I went and I studied in India. I did my first teacher training. My first of many, 200 hours in India. More to answer that first question, Lee. And then I came back and I was working at Lululemon, and I just started to get work really quickly. Doors opened super, super quick.
Because you were in alignment, pure alignment. You know, like when you're not sure, and then all of a sudden you're, and that person that said you should be a teacher, all of that, I think they just shifted you. Whatever, you were just out a little bit of alignment, they just shifted you into alignment, and everything just fell like in place.
And actually, he's the same person who, so after I did my teacher training and I started to get a bit of experience teaching in other places, like, you start off teaching at gyms and then privates, and then finally I started teaching at the Dharmashala. And after a couple of years and building community and making relationships with all the students, he was actually, funnily enough, the same one, and I kind of respect this at the same time. He was the same one when I decided to leave with my business partner of Flow, when we opened Flow Athletic. He was the one who was like, it's a mistake. He didn't like that I was doing a lot of stuff with like Lululemon and opening a studio that wasn't just yoga. It was yoga and fitness, because he was such a purist. And like, the older I am and the more that I appreciate the tradition of yoga, because I do appreciate it so much more now, I also respect how his opinion, even though I didn't agree with it and I pushed against it. And if I had have stayed just teaching at the Dharmashala, not just teaching at the Dharmashala, I wouldn't have done all these other things. But it was one of those moments where I respect him, and this still feels really strong for me. I've got to go in this direction. He was a great teacher, and then Flow unfolded really quickly, and we were just yoga was hot.
The timing.
We were riding this massive wave of yoga and its popularity when we opened Flow, and it was the first studio, I think, of its kind in Sydney, at least, we did a lot of research. We went to LA, and, Benny dragged me around to all these places, like 5 classes a day in LA.
Did you ever meet Gwyneth Paltrow at any yoga?
No. No.
That's all I think. When I think of yoga, I think of Gwyneth Paltrow and her yoga mat, because I'm such a beginner. Speaking of being a beginner, how does somebody like me, who's done a few classes, enjoyed it, felt really good afterwards, but didn't want to get there's a difference between going to a class and there's a difference between that and what you're describing, and a lot of people have it, and I want to almost describe it like a healthy addiction, a love, a passion. How do you get that with yoga? Because I want it, because I think it would be really great for my, what's it called, that nerve?
Vagus nerve.
Thank you. The vagus. I think it would be really good for my vagus nerve. It would be, right? Does that help with the vagus nerve?
It would be, but there's also other things you can do to help your good old vagus nerve as well.
But I
There's
do
certain
the other
breathing
stuff.
techniques.
Like I try. Like I'm eating better now that like I've spent so much more time with Lee. But I know my vagus nerve needs that calm.
You know, a couple of things that are happening in America with the vagus nerve. Gargling is a really good one to stimulate the vagus nerve, and singing in the shower or just singing.
Humming
Humming.
deep breath.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very yoga, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
vagus nerve activation. So you don't have to be doing postures themselves. You can do anything.
What's
But
yeah.
the beginner thing, okay, this is my answer to that. There's two answers. One is maybe you're just not into yoga. and
No,
that's
I
okay.
am. I'm into it. I want to be into it. That's what I'm saying. Can you not be into it? I want to be into it. Do you have to just be into it from a spiritual perspective then? Because I want to be into it, but I can't get into it.
Okay, so then if you want to be into it, maybe it's finding the right teacher, the right place, the right kind of yoga, because there's so many different
So let's talk about
styles.
that.
Okay.
Because I think there are a lot of listeners that are like me that would love nothing more than to be like, you know, a cool yoga mum, right? But we might not have found the right. We want to be like Gwyneth, right? But we haven't. So we got the yoga mat, we got the Lululemon, I've got all that. I've got all the stuff. I've got all. I'll tell you this. I've got the Aura ring. I've got all the equipment that I need to be a professional yoga mum.
Okay.
But I just I don't know. Like, how do I do it?
Okay, so, oh gosh, there's so much in there that I want to unpack. Where do I start, Lee? Okay, if you really want to get into yoga, go and try different classes, different experiences. Find the right one for you. Maybe you feel like from our conversation before, you like to move. You need the distraction possibly of movement in the beginning to get into the flow of it. So find the right
But I don't
teacher.
have much energy. So I know I
It'll give
asked
you
you,
energy.
can I do, if I've got ADHD, which sometimes I feel like I do, if I do, then how do I stay calm enough to do it? And you said do something more like movement, but at the same time, I'm always tired, so I probably wouldn't. I like the laying down part
Go
of
to
yoga.
a slow flow vinyasa class.
Okay, yes.
And you're in a room, you'll have no phones, you can't be distracted.
No, I'm out.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So the other thing is, like, a yogi is not necessarily someone who has all the gear, who has all the equipment. For me, a yogi is someone who endeavors to practice presence. I know yogis who have never stepped on a yoga mat before, but they're a yogi to me because they're so present with you. That is a yogi. It's all about practice.
And you've hit the nail on the head with what you've just said. And that is exactly my issue. And that is, I want to be doing yoga, so I've got all the equipment, but I fail every day in life on being present. I don't know how to be present. So is that the first step?
I would call BS on that though, because you're a successful businesswoman and you need presence to be successful.
I'm
So
always
you're just
looking for
channeling-
tomorrow though.
You're channeling it into like what you're doing now on the laptop, or that's still presence. But I get it. Okay, we were talking before again, but another technique called Yoga Nidra, which has been popularized and called NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. But it's essentially Yoga Nidra. And you're lying down for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40
Oh,
minutes.
I'm
at a
loving
time.
this already.
And you let someone's voice guide you, this systematic approach through the body. The idea is your body gets so relaxed, so your brain waves slow right down. The trick is not to fall asleep.
Oh, I want this. Hey, this
I
is,
do it every night
It's the best.
on the Insight Timer app.
Can we put something in the show notes then about that? So do you
I give you
teach
one of
that
my
class?
nidras. Yeah.
Yeah, so that sounds like a fantastic way to get into it without
Moving.
trying to do the downward dog and all those things.
That's true. So, Kate, you're an active yogi. I love this concept. And I love, your brand and your whole philosophy. It feels really specific as well. What does it actually mean to be an active yogi? Because I think some people hear yogi and they imagine something very quiet and very serious, like you were just talking about. And you're that, but you're also so much more than that.
So the concept of active yogi, there's a lot of, I'm just going to say it, I think there's a lot of like fake yoga going on. And that's cool, whatever gets us in there, just like Vanity got me into a yoga class. And then when I started to go, and I was so lucky that I had these incredible yoga teachers who taught me so much about philosophy. And I just fell in love with it. So I think there's a lot of us that can go to yoga and we can have all the stuff and all the gear, and then we can be having all the green smoothies, but we're missing the point.
Yeah.
And so an active yogi is someone who is actively living their yoga off the mat. So it's that presence that we're taking with us. It's living that lifestyle where we're being, for me also, it's being of service. How can I do this podcast, not for the, I always have to check in with myself. How can I come here today, do this podcast, not for the popularity of it, what will make me look good, how will it make me sound, but how can I be of service with it?
That's why we're doing this as well.
To help people.
Lee's very much, that's all of Lee's entire philosophy is actually how she can be of service to other people.
She's a yogi.
Yeah, she is. I want to, how do I get that? Apart from living in the present?
Hang out with Lee.
I am. I'm learning so much.
Do you know what though? I mean, Irene, I've only met you today, but I'm sure if I went to your home and watched you, like, and I'm not a judge of any of this, but you're probably living a lot of it. You just don't do the postures on the four corners of your yoga mat.
I live a very absolute toxin-free existence, so I really live what I say. But anyone that listens to me on the podcast, there's this duality to my personality, maybe because I'm a Gemini, and half of me is very much that, and I'm a purist and all of those things. But I'm also love all the bells and whistles that come with the wellness industry that I know Lee's not into. I really like that sort of commercial side. I really, really love the commercial side of the wellness industry, which is probably goes against a true yogi, perhaps.
Speaking of the commercial side of the industry, I want to talk about a conversation that's really big in the wellness world right now, and that is Pilates. Has reformer Pilates eaten yoga? And because if you look at the numbers, honestly, there are so, even around here in Avalon and Palm Beach, so many new studios are opening up. There's a big social media conversation about it. It's having an enormous moment right now. I'm curious to know where you sit with all of that.
So I would say about 5 years ago at Flow. So Benny and I sold our business, Flow Athletic, last year. I still got the pleasure of going and teaching a handful of classes there. But when we were about 5 years ago, we noticed this popularity. And we were already offering Pilates and we had a little room for reformer. And we outgrew that room so quickly. So for the other classes, the yoga room also became a Pilates room. We just sort of hid the reformers behind a curtain. It's having a hot moment. I, though, like a lot of wellness trends, I'm just waiting for that moment when, maybe it won't, it dies and we've got all these reformer beds and what are we going to do with them? We'll have to find really creative things to do with them. But I think everything comes back into popularity for a reason. Like breath work at the moment is super hot. Yeah. And I think it's because we're at a point in time where we need it. Yeah. We need to learn how to, because, not everyone's going to do meditation and yoga. So it's just another way of teaching people and guiding people into deeper states of presence and nervous system regulation. And I think Pilates is offering strength to a lot of women who normally wouldn't get into strength.
I feel like Pilates is very much in the body and it's very structural, whereas good yoga, the yoga you teach, is in the nervous system. It's in the breath. It's something more internal. Would you put it that way?
I think the two mean different things for different people, because I know a lot of people who go to Pilates and they get that same mind-body connection. So I think it just comes down to preference. And, we can try and work out, Benny and I used to try and work out why these trends are happening and what, when it's going to end and what's next. I don't think you really, really can. And I don't know, it's a mystery why they come into popularity. I don't know. All I know is that it becomes popular and then it's not popular. But yoga seems to be one of those things that it's always there and people always circle back to it. It's been around for
I agree. I want to
long
talk
time.
about a bit deeper about what happens in a yoga class, because I think people that have been doing it for years, they don't always have the language for it. But obviously there's the physical side to it, the asanas, the sequences, the breath work. But there's also something happening at a physiological level that I don't think gets talked about enough. What is yoga actually doing for the body, would you say?
Well, I always think back to that first yoga class that I referred to. Like, what was it when I walked along that promenade at the end of the night? What was it that made me feel so at home in the body? What was it that cracked me open for the first time in so long? Because I just become so numb.
Yeah.
So I think it's attributed, yes, to the breath. It's attributed to the way that we're moving the body, the way that we're stacking the joints, the way that we're tending to our fascia, our connective tissue. You know, that's just like this super highway of information, and, you know, the vagus nerve, and science is catching up on all of this. I mean, the yogis were like the original biohackers. They knew that when they put their body in certain shapes and when they breathed in certain ways, that they would create a desired outcome. So yeah, there's a lot in the nervous system. There's a lot of just that mind-body connection. So and a good teacher will guide you into that. So when I'm stacking this shoulder with the wrist and I'm breathing in a certain way, there's this clarity that happens in the body. There's these channels that open up, that we clear, that your energy feels different. You feel taller, you feel more clear. I always talk about this body stone that you get when you finish a yoga class, where your whole body feels relaxed, but you're mentally sharp.
Yeah, I love that feeling. And I feel like when you do yoga, when you practice yoga, sometimes you feel like every cell in your body has a new energy after a class, don't you?
But, and also with the yoga scene, at some point, and this is why I come back to the tradition so much, and like the basics, and let's keep it simple, let's keep it real, let's talk to the breath, let's talk to the body, let's talk to, yes, the philosophy, if you've kind of lived it, I guess. But somewhere along the line in the last 10, 15 years, yoga has become so tricked up and like fancy, and who has the best sequencing and who can get the best peak pose. Yeah. I say, and each to their own. You know, for some of us, teaching can be a very creative thing to do, and that's amazing. For me now, because I'm teaching it, so I've been teaching it for over 20 years, it's quite an intuitive process. I'll see postures in my head, and some days I fight that intuition and go, I don't want to teach that. It's hard basket. But when I listen to it and I teach it, it just flows. It fits.
Yeah.
When I don't listen to it, it'll feel disjointed, or so that's how I work. But I think let's go back to the basics. Like, what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to outdo each other as yoga teachers, and then doing a massive disservice to our students? Or can we go to the basics and breathe and move and feel good? The idea is we're there to get more present, not to...
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I taught a class last week. I do voluntary classes at Whale Beach Surf Club.
Of course, I know. She's of such service.
I fill in for the regular teacher there, but she was away, so I did a class, and average age is 70 plus. But it's just, I don't ever go in with a list of what I'm doing. I just feel it and just go with the flow, and then see what... Because, there's obviously different levels in the class, and I just go to sort of the lowest kind of level, and then if people want to go further, they can. But and we just have such a beautiful class. It's really, I love teaching in that way.
And that's cool, because it just goes to show that like my mum's 83. She lives in the country. She goes to her teacher Larissa, shout out to Larissa, and there's a group of them, and they just love it. They're all different ages, and I mean, it will keep you moving.
It's the I love that. It's the biohacking. The original biohack is yoga. Would you say that biohacking is, you're getting more biohacking from yoga or from Pilates? Like, do they both have that anti-aging benefit? If I had to, I'm just asking for a friend, if they only had an hour and a day to put to one or the other, which one might they pick?
If you go, there's definitely... There are definitely forms of yoga you can go to where you're going to get as strong, right, as Pilates, or maybe not as strong, but you're going to get strong, you're going to get tone. Yeah, I'd say yoga is probably a little bit more biohacky-ish, but maybe I'm biased. I'm not a Pilates teacher, so I can't speak for the...
But it must be because you're also focusing so much mind, body, spirit into yoga, and Pilates is less about the spirit and the mind and more about the body. Would you say that?
Well, there's more of an aspect of meditation and breath work involved in a yoga class as well, which is the hacking element, if we're going to call it that, yeah.
What's your favourite pose?
Changes all the time. I used to always say pigeon, which is a good old hip opener. That's a good one for a good old cry we were talking about, letting emotions go. There are some schools of thought that say that we store a lot of emotions in our hips. At the moment, I'm really loving my wheel poses.
Are they hard?
You got to be prepared, like you got to prepare your shoulders.
What's a really good
Your
beginners?
spine and everything, your hip flexors, everything really with wheel. Beginners.
What's a really good beginner's pose?
You know what I want to say?
It's just like you stand on one leg or something, isn't it? And you point to the sky. What's that one?
It depends what medicine you want to get from it or what you're looking for. But when you said that, what came to my mind initially was cat-cow. Like, how good is a cat-cow?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah, I
that?
love it.
Get on to all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and just move through flexion and extension of the spine.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Oh, like
You know, like your cat?
Simple.
When you watch your cat and your cat is like putting her back up in the air and then coming up through the throat and lifting up and looking up. You know how cats do that?
Because cats know
Yeah.
what we spiritually, they know what to do for their body.
cats are so intuitive.
Yeah.
Like my cat, when she's looking at me, she's looking all around me. I'm like, what are you seeing? And they're so
Yeah.
sovereign.
They
They're
are.
not like dogs are amazing because they're so loyal and they're like, love me, love me, love me. Cats are like, I'll come to you when I'm ready.
We only have people on the podcast that love cats.
We only have cat ladies on the show.
We have
We're
a
all
cat.
ladies.
And then we did a whole podcast that was not supposed to be about cats, but it was just all about cats.
So, Kate, I want to move into meditation now because I know it's completely central to your practice and your teaching. And I think sometimes there is a bit of confusion and resistance around it from people. People hear meditation and they think, oh, is it for me? I've tried it. It's too hard. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. Can you give us any insight into that or the misconceptions or what's actually going on there?
So I do feel as though some people need a little more preparation to get into meditation. That's why asana is really good.
Yes.
The yoga postures before the meditation.
Yeah.
And on that, I more and more frequently say and refer to Shavasana as the peak pose. Because ultimately the goal of the asana was so that yogis could sit in meditation for longer periods of time with open hips and a long spine. That was the whole goal of yoga. That was it. It wasn't it wasn't for anti-aging purposes, let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't for longevity. It was so yogis could sit and meet with the divine and have a greater connection with themselves and higher power. That was it. But this day and age, there are so many distractions. So I do feel like a lot of us need a little more preparation just to sit. So instead of just sitting down on a meditation cushion and starting, I think Yoga Nidra is a really nice form of meditation in itself. Any kind of preparatory breath work that you can do before it. And what was the question? Am I answering it?
Yeah. I was just asking you about meditation and you know, some people are resistant to it and I think it's really hard.
And that's normal.
Yeah.
I'm resistant to it some days too. I remember my meditation teacher, Jackie, from the Broad Place. She tells me a story of how when she'd go to her teacher would say, how was your meditation? And she'd say, oh, it was so good, it was so blissful. And he'd be like, good. And then the next time she'd say, when asked the question, oh, my mind was so choppy, it was horrible, I couldn't focus. And he'd be like, good. And so the point is that it doesn't matter what comes up in the space of a meditation. The point is that you're willing to sit with whatever's going on for you. And of
I agree.
course, that's really hard to do because
is.
there is a lot of noise.
There is.
But the more that we can sit, the more that we train ourselves to sit with the discomfort and boredom and frustration and I don't want to do this or I've got a lot on my mind, eventually you hit that point. And for me, I hit that point of stillness. And my mind's never completely still in meditation, but there's more space between the thoughts, I guess. Usually that comes after a threshold. Say I've been sitting for about 15, 20 minutes and I want to give up. I'm like, this is boring. This is boring. This is boring. And that's when I go, remember this point, remember this threshold. And I sit with it, mantra, mantra, mantra. Then I'll drop into it. But of course, it's like everyone finds meditation. It's not necessarily a blissful experience. Just everyone know that. It's not necessarily a blissful experience all the time.
Yeah, I have different ones all the time. And it's about really, like you say, getting to the samskaras and clearing out those old wounds from the past. And sometimes it takes a while to get there because your day-to-day is so hectic that you're just working through those in a meditation. Or sometimes you're just so distracted, or it is different every time, isn't it?
And also, the idea is that if those thoughts are coming up, they're kind of a good sign because they're coming up to be released.
Yeah.
It's like when we start, we're at the choppy surface of a really wavy ocean, not that beautiful, calm water that we can see out there, like choppy, choppy, choppy. And then we use mantra or whatever technique that we're using to, like a sinker, to take us slowly towards the very bottom of the ocean. And every once in a while, or many times, an air bubble comes up that brings the sinker back towards the surface. Those are thoughts. And the thoughts, the air bubbles, they need to be released. So the thoughts are just there to be released. We notice them, we move on. We notice them, we let them go. Back to mantra, back to whatever technique you're using.
I use Vedic, and what I do is I just put a spotlight on my mantra when I'm saying it. So I'll just, whenever I'm getting distracted or my thoughts are coming in, I'll just put the spotlight on my mantra, just focus on, not really focus on it, but just continue to say it and just let the thoughts float past and not hook into them. I found that really helpful.
It's a good technique for life too, right? What are you focusing? Let's focus on the focus, and then everything else is just noise.
So, Kate, I'd love to ask you something specific, the space between. Because you've built an entire philosophy and course around this idea, and I find it really beautiful. Can you talk to us about what it is?
You know, that came to me, that idea of the space between, not that it's a new concept. I mean, songs have been written about it, people talk about it, philosophize it. But when it really became real for me was in those first few months of that really regular yoga practice in North Bondi. And I'd be in a posture. I remember specifically once being in Paschimottanasana, which is a forward fold, both legs straight out in front, folding forwards. And I noticed, like when I started to get really fluent with my ujjayi breathing, which is that sound that you make in the throat, that whispering oceanic sound, I would notice that the end of my exhalations, when I'd pull my navel to spine, we call this Uddiyana Bandha, that part at the base of my out-breath before the next breath came in, so basically the space between breaths, I could widen that place. And two things would happen. One, I would physically find more space in the posture. And two, my mind would go almost blank. And it just became this metaphor that I would think about so often, space between breaths, the space between thoughts. And then like widening that, how can we widen that space between to merge into everything that we do? Essentially, it's presence. It all comes back to presence. It's that part where you can be so completely present, and then how can we take that into everything?
I find that when I finish work, like in everyday life. So I'll finish work, and before I do anything, I need that space between. So I'll go and have a shower. And wash off the day.
I have this conversation with people all the time too. I think it's really good to honor like the beginning and end of things in our day.
Do you do that, Irene? Because Irene, I know at night she's in bed on TikTok. Do you have that space? Do you have
I
space
do.
Where you've been? Oh, you do.
No, I do. I go hard. I go really, really hard, and for a really long periods of time, and then I'll stop. So, an example of one of my Sundays might be get up at 7:30, grab my laptop, and then jump into something that I'm doing. whatever that might be, rewriting product descriptions or probably that, or blogging or something.
So is he still in bed?
In bed, yeah. And then it'll be 3 o'clock all of a sudden, and I'll realise, holy crap, I better get out of bed.
You've had your everything shower.
Not yet.
Have you had
Oh.
breakfast?
No.
Oh no, you haven't.
I haven't done anything.
Did
It's 3
breakfast?
o'clock. No. No, I've definitely had coffee. I've had my coffee. And then it'll be 3 o'clock. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to start my day. So then I will have
Yeah, everything shower.
my everything shower. Then it's time for sleepies.
And that's a Sunday.
Probably have something to eat before I go to
Sounds
bed.
quite relaxing though.
Block of chocolate at about 9 o'clock.
What's your chocolate of choice?
Well, that's a whole. Can I, not to go off topic for a second, but do you know how long
Everything's yoga though.
everything's yoga? But do you know how long I spent in the supermarket last week looking for chocolate without soy lecithin in it?
A long time.
A very, very long time. So I'll tell you one thing about the chocolate now. I'm very conscious about the type of chocolate that I have because Lee has taught me so much about the sorts of garbage that's in our chocolate. And I actually have much less chocolate these days. It was a really bad example, but the point is, yes, I will go really hard for a long period of time and then I do need to reset, and a shower is definitely a reset for me, or a bath is a reset for me, or it actually, and you'll love, like if my husband just says, that's it, get out of bed, we're going for a walk, and we will actually go for a walk together, and I won't want to, I'll actually be really annoyed that I was pulled out of my zone, but I can't tell you how amazing I feel after that walk. It feels great. I don't actually go back to what I was doing with work-wise, but I really do get a different perspective. So I understand the importance of the space in between.
See, again, you say you're like not present, but you hyper-focus, don't you?
I think I have
You're
hyper-focus ADHD.
Yeah.
That's what a medical professional told me that it's likely that I have. But I don't, everyone, I think people throw that term around a lot, ADHD term, so I don't really want to label myself. But I can, because I thought there is no way I've got ADHD. No way. Because
You can sit down and get something done.
correct, because I can sit down and focus for 8 hours without stopping. And they said, well, actually, that's a form of ADHD. And I was like, what? Because I thought it was like being distracted.
It is a form of ADHD.
Yeah, apparently it is. Yeah, yeah.
Hyperfocus.
Hyperfocus, yeah. So that's my superpower, because if I can hyperfocus for 8 or 9 hours while everyone else is out enjoying their Saturday, then that gives me that's obviously how I built my first business, because while everyone else was enjoying life and living life, I was building a business.
I think it is a superpower too. I think a lot of these disorders are superpowers.
I think so too.
I think there's probably, the whole ADHD thing is the whole other thing, isn't it? And maybe for kids, our schooling system isn't set up for it. But most of us willing to homeschool? No, probably not. I'm certainly not willing to. But I think that's a superpower.
But I guess...
Wish I had a bit more of that kind of ADHD. My friend Steph has that one, and her house is meticulous and everything is organised to a T, and I walk in and I just go, wow.
That sounds like Lee's place.
Irene's too scared to put her coffee cup down. When she
I
comes over.
am too scared. But that really comes back to my biggest question, and I've probably asked it before and I'll ask it again. How does somebody that finds it really hard to focus and settle down, and how do I take my focus away from one thing that I've decided I want to hyper-focus on? How do I pull myself away from that hyper-focus and then put it into a yoga practice or a meditation practice, because that requires its own level of hyper-focus?
Or going for a walk or doing something like that. Okay, then my question is, why do you want to hyper-focus on these things like yoga? Or is it because you want more enjoyment out of life, or you want to learn how to relax? You don't feel relaxed? Why?
Because it's supposed to be good for my vagus nerve, and I want the vagus nerve to be happy so I can build my business and live my life. And
so why don't you try doing some breath work instead of yoga?
Oh, no,
because yoga doesn't seem to be a thing.
No, I can't do breath work. I like holding my breath for as long as possible.
Well, there are some forms of breath work where you do hold your breath for as long as possible.
Well, I can do that. I can do that one. No, the real reason that I want to do yoga is because I don't think what I'm saying is healthy. And I want to have a truly balanced life. And being in my 50s now, what I want is a truly healthy well-being. I want to create that. And I'm so inspired to do that. And everything that I do is based around that. So how do I then put that intention into action? And I truly believe that doing yoga, meditation, even Pilates regularly at a level where I don't miss it, like I don't miss a session, don't cancel, I think that will not just be great for my vagus nerve, but for my overall well-being, which ultimately is really all of our goal in life, isn't it, is to be healthy.
When you're in those sessions and you say you can't focus, what is like, can you describe the feeling? You bored? Are you anxious?
I'm bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wrote a piece about this on my Substack yesterday, and I turned it into a little podcast itself, Where We Soften. And
Is it called Where We Soften?
Where We Soften.
I love that.
So I talked about the theme was what I learned in early recovery from an eating disorder. And this is a conversation that I'm having with a lot of people. I mentor people in early recovery from eating disorders and just conversations with students around boredom. Boredom was a really painful thing for me in early recovery, because where I would normally be doing my eating disorder behaviors, overthinking, overdoing, whatever I was doing, when they were stripped away, guess what I was left with? Boredom. But actually what I realized, that initial phase, it wasn't boredom, it was withdrawals. So I wonder if when you're in class, are you withdrawing from stimulation?
Yes.
From your laptop?
Yes.
From your...
When you said you can't have your phones or whatever on before about, right, and I said I'm out, my whole body went into a cold sweat of the thought of being somewhere without access to Shopify or to...
You're not alone. You're not alone, because the people.
I don't think I am alone
with their little, the
Apple
watches
Watch
and the ding bing and the emails you can get on that. Like I'm astounded, like how many people check those.
It's interesting in my yoga class that I teach, because everyone's older, and so they're not as connected to their phones. But it depends. Yeah, it depends who you're teaching, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's constant stimulation in the modern world, the notifications, the pace of things. How do we hold a practice that is actively working against all of these things? Like, where do we start?
I think you said it just there. It's practice. It's discipline. It's coming back to it. There's no blue pill, is there? It's just discipline. I wish there was a blue pill. But I always say that discipline creates freedom. So, yes, initially I might feel like I don't want to sit on the meditation cushion, like, I have to sit with my thoughts. I have to sit and meet myself and listen to my ego. But I never regret sitting. I never regret doing a meditation. Never regret going to
you never
yoga.
regret it, do you? Never regret going for a walk.
Never regret going for a walk. Once you're out there, Irene, you love it, don't you?
Sometimes
You
I
come back and you
feel a little
better.
guilty.
Walking.
Well, a little guilty doing anything like that. Like what?
Self-care-ish.
Yeah.
Because it's overindulgent.
Yeah. What a huge indulgent experience to be able to take an hour and lay on a mat and
This
do
is
those
how
things.
I think of it. Who am I not to be doing it? Who am I not to be taking care of myself? I feel like when I don't do it, I'm actually not as good a mum. I can be angry.
Yeah.
Impatient.
Yeah.
So
I need to do it.
I need it to stave off the crazy, basically.
Me too.
But yeah, I'm wondering if it's withdrawals and not boredom.
You're probably right. Yeah, so
And
how
all
do
of
we
us.
fix this? I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way. That's why I bring up these other side, because if everyone was calm and balanced like Lee, then everyone would be walking around Palm Beach with their dog, and or the world would be a much better place. But I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot of people like me out there that are anxious and driven, like so driven to the point of the thought of taking an hour out of my day and not working
can Can I say,
is
though, I
insane.
used to be driven. I would pull all night.
No, I think you're driven, but I just think you're very driven, but you are balance driven. You're balanced, like you're a business person too. You've written 12 books. You've got an amazing line of product. You've got a shop. Say you've got all that too, doing talks. But for some reason, you're able to do it all.
Because they're non-negotiables. The walking, the yoga, the meditation are non-negotiables because I know that I need them in order to do the other things. So that's a priority for me.
And that's where I think a lot of other people need to get to, instead of just pushing through the day, trying to keep working when they're, even people studying, people doing degrees, people at uni are probably feeling a little bit like, like imagine you're at uni and you're studying medicine, for example, and you just want to finish the course. A lot of people are doing these all-nighters when really they would probably be doing much better in their assignments and all of those things if they just
that is
included
true.
these practices.
The research shows that you are more productive when you take breaks.
Well, there you go.
And with Yoga Nidra, because the person that won't be mentioned on this podcast that we were talking about, who's a big advocate for Yoga Nidra and calls it NSTR.
One of the naughty wellness bros.
Which one's that? Are we allowed to say?
Your favourite. He's done all the research on Yoga Nidra, and, that's a benefit of his body of work. He does do a lot of research. And when you do something like Yoga Nidra after, say you've been at a conference all day or you're learning all day, doing something like Yoga Nidra after it helps you to retain the information.
Oh, see, we need to know this.
Yeah.
The science, baby.
Yeah, there's a neuroscience of meditation, actually. The structural changes in the brain, the attention, the emotional regulation. It's not a soft science. It's there.
I know the science is there, which is another reason why I want to do what you asked me. Well, why do you want to do it then, Irene? Well, because of that. Because I know the science is there. I know I'll be a better person. I know I'll be a better mum, better business. But I know that I will be all of those things if I could just do it. That's why I'm saying, that's why I keep asking, like, what can I do to get that, to feel, to be able to sit there for an hour and just do it.
I think you also just need to go again and just do it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And this is the other thing that just came to me is like with the withdrawal stuff. A lot of us don't like to be in that stillness or the not talking or being on a yoga mat, not talking to other people, which I love, because we meet our ego. Our ego is constantly judging, comparing, sizing up. You should be better than, you should be doing more, you shouldn't be doing this. Like the ego
Oh,
is
yeah, well, that's
relentless.
exactly the problem. Because you're sitting there in silence without your phone doing something, thinking about all of the things you wish you'd not done. I think that's probably my biggest issue is...
So you have regrets?
Well, because I just, no matter how much therapy I do, I don't think I'll ever get over what happened with my last business. I just think an hour in a room is going to bring all that up, and maybe I need to do that and then cry it out.
Maybe that's like weed it out and come to one of my breathwork journeys.
Yeah. I like to say, release the issues from your tissues.
Oh, I love that so much.
Well, go and do some ayahuasca or something,
Oh, I love
and you'll
that.
really meet yourself.
I'm sure I'm not the only person that feels. Surely I'm not the only person that feels this way.
Definitely not.
So, Kate, your book, Life in Flow, what is the person who needs that book going through and what does it give them?
So Life in Flow, I actually wrote that when I was pregnant with Alice. So a 9-month journey of writing that on a Sunday. Every day I had a day off. And I really wanted to share my experiences with the practice of yoga and how we can all live our yoga off the mat. So, we still, I think of yoga as this thing that happens on the four corners of a rubber mat, but it's actually so much more than that. That's just a tiny little slither when we look at the philosophy of yoga and the history of yoga. It's like very, very little about what yoga actually is. So how can we take the philosophies and apply it to our contemporary and modern lifestyles to live with more harmony, freedom, feeling better about ourselves, being nicer, being kinder? Basically, it's a pretty simple book. And each chapter, at the end of each chapter, there's a moving meditation, which is a really simple sequence of designed that you can repeat them for as long as you have. Say you've got 5 minutes, okay, you'd repeat the sequence 3 times. 10 minutes more.
Oh, that's a good
So it's
one.
moving meditation in that the postures are repeated over and over again. There's a little flow and you get into the rhythm, almost like you use a mantra. You use the postures to get into a state of presence. And instead of, it's very easy to go into a place of autopilot when we know what's coming next. But if you stay with the breath and you stay with the felt sensations in the body, every time we come to the same posture, it's going to feel a little different because we've changed a little different. You never step into the same river twice, do you? Every day the river, you might know a body of river your whole life, but every day you go to it, you step into it, it's a little different. Temperature's different, different height, it's moving in different ways. Our body's the same. So the idea of that moving meditation is stay present in the body. What are you feeling this time around? Now what's this? And can you create space here? It's all about, essentially I think of yoga as creating space. We're space creators, physically, mentally, emotionally.
And what would you say if we read your book and we started that practice and that was our entry level into creating more space and then living life of a yogi off the mat? I love that so much. What sorts of benefits would someone like me, not Lee, because Lee's already there, but what would someone like an everyday person who even just works a 9 to 5, what benefits would we find?
From doing the moving meditation?
Yeah, from reading the book
Yeah.
and then starting to do those meditations and those movements. The yoga.
I think just from reading the book is like every chapter as well has like a real life person in it. I take an example of a real life person and why I think they're a yogi. And again, some of the people in the book are not yogis, wouldn't consider themselves as yogis. But like, for example, there's one guy, Kingo, Andrew Kingston. He is a yogi. He'd come to yoga, but he just embodied, right? And he embodies like, he'd come to yoga and he'd do the practice, and then when everyone else was rushing off to work, sometimes I'd see him just go down and sit on like a chair outside the studio and enjoy his breakfast, and he'd just be sitting there, no phone, so rogue, so rebellious, just sitting and enjoying. So I just take ordinary people, put them in the book, highlight them. This is why I think they're a yogi. This is how we can, we can live more inspired. And then there's tips, like there's breath work, there's tips for staying more connected and off your phone less, just really practical everyday sort of stuff.
So this you just answered every question that I had in this entire interview is answered by, and I don't know why you didn't just say it every time, read the book. I mean, all you need to do is read the book because it's actually all there. The answers to all of my questions are read the book, because it sounds like it's just such an easy way to move into that direction.
Yeah, then you just start.
You got to
Whether
start.
it's my book or a yoga class, and start, and you might find that might not be for you either.
No, it is. I want it to be. Stop saying that. I want to be. Don't let. No.
So Kate, you sold your business. Speaking of the river and the flow, and then you took a little bit of time out. What is coming up for you next? What are you doing?
When we first sold the business, and like it's not like I've sort of been not doing anything. I'm still teaching, and I've been starting to teach at some other studios, which I haven't done for 13 years, which has felt very humbling. I love writing. I've got my Substack. And
What's your Substack? How can people find?
It's Active Yogi. Yeah.
Active Yogi.
Active Yogi.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll send it to you. You can pop it in the show notes.
We will.
I mean, that's my goal. I would love just to live somewhere like this, have a room just like this.
The secret cabin.
And lock myself in a room like this all day. The introvert in me loves this idea, and not talk to someone and just write.
Yes.
That's why I love yoga, because I go to yoga. You don't talk to anyone. It's the best. But having said that, there's this concept, there's this philosophy in yoga. It's pratyahara. So it's a practice of withdrawing our senses from the external environment. Okay, so turning off your phones, turning off conversations, turning off doing all the things to go within. It's not easy. We've talked about this all the podcast. It's not easy to sit with it and feel it. But the idea is when you come out the other end, it's not to say introverted and inactive with life and not interact with it. It's so that when you come out of the practice, you are more connected. You are more turned on by life. You are more full as opposed to staying in that introverted way that you do in any yoga class. But yeah, that's what I could do. I could just lock myself away for 6 hours and create.
So, Kate, I'm having a download, a little intuitive moment with you. I feel like you will be writing, and you're going to be writing a book around helping young girls with eating disorders. That's what I'm feeling.
You know what, Lee? You are not the first person to say that. I just need to start writing the book. Someone else, like an incredible shaman woman who I did some medicine with and walked with, and yeah, that's a long story. But she had the exact same vision. So
I've got it too.
Just need to write the first line.
So you've got your website, activeyogi.com.au. Your Instagram is activeyogi as well. And obviously your book, Life in Flow, is available through Booktopia and other online stores. Honestly, it's just been such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much. I feel so calm.
I feel really calm too. And I despite you keep trying to tell me it's not for me, I don't think I've been more inspired.
Reverse psychology. Also, I love that there's a bush turkey out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got kookaburras up here, bush turkeys.
The kookaburras are the same. The kookaburras out there are the same size as the bush turkeys. They are massive.
What do they get
Beautiful.
fed?
Probably the bush turkeys.
Girls, thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much for coming.
I loved my little drive out here.
Yeah.
Landing in beautiful Palm Beach and hanging with both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Womansplain segment. This is where we are lovingly, practically, and with full commitment helping the men in our lives take better care of themselves. And today, our man in the cabin this is going to be a real surprise for everybody. It's Justin. Hi, Justin.
Hello, you two. I have a question, and it's around GLP1s. I don't know what they are. I've heard a little bit about them somewhere on a podcast, and something about stop your cravings, because I'm trying to lose some weight, and I do have like sweet cravings particularly, and I'm not drinking at the moment. I don't drink that much, but I kind of crave it as well, because I think drinking is kind of like sweet for me. There's something sweet about it.
Like drinking alcohol drinking?
Yeah.
Because you should still drink water.
I drink heaps.
Okay,
of water.
good.
Yeah, heaps of tea. But yeah, and so I've definitely got a sweet tooth, and I was hoping to find that or something that would help me with those cravings.
Well, I can't help you because I don't know anything about GLP1s or any of those things.
Even if this is a yes or no answer about whether GLP1s, I should look into them for that reason.
I like my cravings. I like having my sweet cravings and stuffing my face with that craving.
Yeah, I can't stop
It's one of
that.
life's pleasures for me.
I'll eat a block of chocolate.
And I
If
just
I can't, I just
decided,
have one.
do you know what I've decided? I've held back many years. I've decided I'm just going to buy bigger jeans. I don't care anymore.
Oh, the
I'm going
ones
to
with the
enjoy.
stretchy-
I don't
stretchy,
care. I'm just going to go up a size. I'm just going to go up a size in jeans. I'm over 50, happily married.
Elasta jeans.
I don't care. I'm just going to buy a bigger size and enjoy my cravings because I'm feeling so good and healthy. Anyway, that might lead a little bit into my my rave later. But enough about me. I'm sure Lise knows the answer. She knows about it. Everything.
Well, I actually really like that you asked this question because I feel like it's in the headlines a lot, and I want to give you a real answer. But I want to start by saying what they actually are, because I think a lot of people are using the name without really fully understanding the mechanism. So GLP-1, it stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. So what it is, it's a hormone that your gut naturally produces after you eat. And when it's released, it does a few really specific things. It tells your pancreas to produce insulin, but importantly, only when your blood sugar is elevated. It also slows down how quickly your tummy empties, and so food moves through more slowly and you stay fuller for longer. And critically, it signals your brain that you're satisfied. So obviously, in the
I'm in.
news, you're in?
That's it.
Yeah.
We can just, okay, how do I get into it?
Well, I want to talk about the injections because they've really...
Oh,
I'm not-
see, no,
I'm
I'm
not
out.
gonna-
I'm out.
You're out.
No,
Although I think I would do injections if one of my wellness bros said something about inventing some injection that actually does make you 10 years younger, like actually revert. He says, I saw something about he reversed blindness or something in old mice. Anyway, that I would probably put up with an injection if it made me, I don't care about the weight thing, but if it made me look 10 years younger, I'd probably deal with it.
an injection that made you feel better about injections.
Well, there's a few of them. There's semaglutide, which is the most well-known, I guess. That's marketing as a Zempic, and it's prescribed for type 2 diabetes and Wegovy for weight management. So it works by mimicking that hormone and amplifying its effect as well. And there's other ones as well, and newer ones like tirzepatide. And tirzepatide is one that works on both the GLP1 and a hormone called GIP, and can be more potent for weight loss.
With respect, and this is another issue I've got, is like ADHD. I didn't hear any of that, and I just I heard it everywhere, but I'm kind of losing it in terms of is it as simple as have a look at it, speak to your doctor.
Yeah, it's confusing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I like the benefit. I really appreciated what you said about what it is and stuff, because that just I get it.
So how much weight do you... People on Ozempic that I've seen in the media, like Hollywood, they look really skinny.
Yeah.
Like the Osbournes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
what's her name? Sharon
definitely.
Osbourne, and who's the daughter?
The daughter, yeah.
She's so gorgeous and plump, but beautiful and healthy and plump. And she looks really... like skinny now, and that I don't know. Like, can you take it too far? How can you get that skinny on it? And how do you get the nutrition? Like, if it's stopping you from eating, that's why you lose weight, Lee? Because it makes you not hungry.
Yeah, what it does, it turns down a lot of that food chatter, that you have. I don't know if you have it, but
Oprah talks about that.
Yeah, the food chatter. It also helps
Mine's
your
a
appetite
food
regulation
cacophony.
as well.
Anyway.
It is, yeah. So it does do that, and I think if you have diabetes or you have insulin resistance, it's going to be really helpful for you. I think if you're doing it for just specific weight loss, for some people who are really overweight, it's a good thing because it starts them on the road to losing weight, but you have to eat well on it. You have to eat the right kinds of foods, and you have to have routine with it.
Because you're not going to get your nutrition. Justin, you're not overweight, so I don't understand why you're asking.
Well, I have been. I am. I'm like 91 kilos, and that's really heavy.
Yeah, but you're about, how tall are you?
About 6 foot.
You're taller than 6 foot.
No, no.
Call it 6'2".
But I should be like 80. Seriously.
So you want to lose 10 kilos, 8 to 10 kilos.
I can do it. I've done it before, and
but I heard you can't just take these Ozempics, let's say it as generic name. You can't just take it just to quickly lose 10 kilos, can't you? Isn't it an ongoing thing?
Well, what happens is there's obviously different doses of it. So you can start on the lower dose and then build up to the maximum dose of it as well. There is research now coming out to show that when people go off it, then they do put the weight back on.
Yeah, that's what I read.
There's a percentage of weight that you do put back on. However, if you do really genuinely have insulin resistance and diabetes, it is a very helpful drug. The other thing that I think is positive about it, there's another layer that researchers are starting to explore at the moment, and that is that GLP1 medications have anti-inflammatory effects in the body.
I've heard that as well, and that I'm interested in that.
Yeah,
because,
me too.
Yeah.
And they also can influence your immune pathways as well. So for people with inflammatory or immune-related conditions, it's actually a really good thing to take.
I'm really interested in the ability to curb my cravings. Yeah, lose some weight, but I'm working on that anyway. And from our first episode even, I'm doing the high protein breakfast, all the things you've suggested, and I'm actually definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in trying it just from that perspective and, low dosing it. So how would you start? Do you need to go to a doctor first?
I would definitely recommend going to a doctor.
Yep.
And getting your
So
full
not the black
health.
market.
No, I would go and get your full health history. Talk about your current medications that you're on. Look at the contraindications. Get blood tests so you know where you're at. You know your baseline. There's also side effects to it as well. So some of the common ones are things like nausea, vomiting, constipation, reflux, those kinds of things. So if you have a history of slow motility or reflux, then it may be not the best one for you to take.
Okay. So I think it helps just to have that really clear objective with it.
Yeah, I think having an honest conversation with your GP is the place to start.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I don't like the sound of it. I also saw because I love I shouldn't say I love the TGA. I do respect the TGA, and I follow them on Instagram because I'm a TGA geek. And I did see that
They always post the funniest stuff.
we cracked down on $2 million worth of black market GLP1s. Anyway, peptides. There is so many TikToks about peptides. And again, I'm talking about the glow up ones that make you look younger. Yeah, of course I'm interested in that because I'm the target audience. Being 50, if I can look 30, I'm super excited about that. Don't know why I'm going down this. We need to do a whole podcast on it. I'm genuinely blown away about how many people are willing to risk their lives for off-market
Me too.
things.
And we don't know what is in them.
We don't know what is in them.
Literally, yeah.
But I'll tell you what I am genuinely excited about. I am genuinely excited about something with these whatever these peptides are becoming TGA listed and approved for use for anti-aging in our lifetime. And that excites me. What also excites me is the thought of taking a peptide that can lower inflammation and therefore reduce risk of cancer and other disease in our lifetime. And I really look forward to that. And I trust that the TGA will do their right due diligence on that and allow the correct ones out. Anyway, so that's exciting for me.
Yeah, I like that when science takes its time. Well, science takes as much time as it needs, as opposed to just...
Yeah, I'm not talking COVID jab timeline. I'm talking about proper, where it really is safe, and that does excite me. And if it's in 10 years, it's in 10 years. But I'm going to watch that space.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it, Lee and Irene.
My turn for a rave now.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'm putting the timer on. You've got 60 seconds.
It's a really quick rave.
Okay. Hit me with it.
Lee, it's a bit of a rave about you, actually.
What?
When I started following your blog 30 years ago, 20 years ago, however long that was, I really loved you. And I felt a little bit like I had a blog in my pocket of information. But I am the type of person that finds it really hard to just read a book and read a blog and put it into action.
Yeah.
But doing this podcast with you and seeing you every week, I'm looking at you while I'm saying this, has been the best thing for my health. I feel like one of those really rich people that have their own private chef, nutritionist, health expert when it comes to all things eating the right food. I have had the most varied diet since starting this podcast with you. I have let go of all of my restrictions.
Good.
Yeah, because you've said, eat the gluten, Irene. You're not celiac because we got tested for that. You're not celiac. Eat the gluten. I'm eating the gluten. I ate salmon, for the first time. I wouldn't normally eat fish. I've been eating salmon. I'm eating really good meat. I've never felt better. You know, before I would take the Love Your Gut powder and I go, all right, I'm taking the Love Your Gut powder. But now I'm doing everything. And I am so, there's a two-pronged thing to this rave. First is me as a person, I feel better than I have ever felt in my life. I am sleeping better with all of your opinions. Thank you so much. But what I also want to say as part of the rave is anyone who's listening to this podcast can also access this information. If I am telling anyone out there, truly, because, you know, we do this podcast for free or whatever, there's without any benefit here. Anyone wants to listen to this podcast, you are going to feel like, if you listen to every episode and you take notes and you actually read Lee's Nerd Notes, you too can feel like a billionaire with a private chef and private nutritionist, because all of this information that I have got to feel amazing has all come from you and guests on this podcast. That's my rave.
The guests have been amazing, haven't they?
I love how you've deflected you have been amazing, Lee, but the guests have been
I've learned so
amazing
much from the guests as well. Every week.
It's actually almost like a bit naughty because we've got these guests on and it's like our personal.
It's like a free education.
It's like we've got these. It's like a personal free health, nutrition information in your pocket or in your ears, and I think that's like super cool.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's so sweet. All right, well, that is the Lee and Irene show for today. Let's do a quick lap of what we got into because it was a lot.
It was. We learnt about yoga and Pilates and meditation and all of those things.
We had the most beautiful conversation with Kate and what it means to slow down in a world that is actively asking you to speed up, right? And Justin asked the GLP1 question everyone is thinking about, and the answer is go to your GP, be honest, and do the work around it. And you shared your beautiful rave. Thank you.
And if you loved this episode, please rate and review us on Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. It genuinely makes such a huge difference for people finding us, especially now since we changed our name. So we have to start all over again.
Yeah, I love the new name though. I think it's going to be easier for people to find. My nutritionist nerd notes too for this episode are on Substack, and all the science behind what we talked about today. We're going to put some links in there for Kate's work and everything we mentioned in the show.
And if there's someone in your life that needs to hear this, please forward it to them, won't you?
And you know where to find us. Substack, Apple, Spotify, and Instagram, The Lee and Irene Show.
Yeah, we love hearing from you. Bye.
Bye. Mwah.
The Lee and Irene Show is a production of Clean Nectarine Proprietary Limited and Supercharged Food Proprietary Limited. It is hosted by Lee Holmes and Irene Falcone with editing and technical support by Justin Smidmore. It is for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute medical, health, legal or financial advice. The views expressed are personal opinions of the hosts and guests and do not represent the views of Clean Nectarine or Supercharged Food. This podcast does not establish a doctor-patient or other professional relationship. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your health or treatment.